What's up, YouTube? It's Philanthropy's back for another video. This here is getting ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. Yet, ever since this trade between Ben Simmons and James Harden has taken place, there have been so many arguments, so many debates, so many different takes on it, which is fine. But I don't know if I've ever, in the history of me watching sports, ever seen so many negative takes on something that is just obviously good. Like, for example, I recall LeBron James teaming up with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh going to Miami. I never remember just voluminous amounts of so-called pundits, and I say so-called because a pundit actually has to be an expert by definition, when really most of these guys are not really experts. They're just talking heads, really, which is more accurate and more of an accurate description for them. But I've never seen just people just talk about it. Oh, they have no chance. They're not going to do anything. They're not putting the league on notice. They're nothing. I never recalled, when Shaq went to L.A., the negativity. I've never seen anything like this. I find this very fascinating. I don't know what it is with the people, and whether or not they don't like Philadelphia, or whether or not they don't like the way Philadelphia built its team. I don't know what it is, if they're just fans of rival teams or whatever, which shouldn't dictate their opinions to the point where it takes a nonsensical. You can want a team to lose, but they're nonsensical. Skip Bayless is being completely nonsensical. He defends Ben Simmons while criticizing LeBron James for those things, though Ben Simmons has those same issues multiplied by 100. But he claims he likes him. Doesn't like Luka Doncic, though Luka Doncic is clearly a better player than a Ben Simmons. Doesn't like Giannis. Then yet again another guy who's clearly better than a Ben Simmons. It's just weird. Stephen A. Smith, I don't know what's up with him. What's going on. Prior to the trade, the Philadelphia 76ers, even though they were still a top team in the East record-wise, prior to the James Harden trade, he still said that he believes that the Cleveland Cavaliers, the young Cavaliers squad, would bounce the Philadelphia 76ers in the first round. And then the Sixers add James Harden to the mix. And then still, he's saying he doesn't believe they can win a title, which he knows is nonsensical. Though this is ridiculous because last year, prior to James Harden going to Brooklyn, really, and I should pull it up. One day I'm going to go pull it up. But when James Harden, before he went to Brooklyn and he was rumored to be coming to Philadelphia, Stephen A. Smith was on record saying that if James Harden goes to the Sixers, the Philadelphia 76ers are going to go to the NBA Finals. This is what he said last season. But then when James Harden goes to Brooklyn, then he jumps all over Brooklyn's meat. They're just the greatest offensive team ever, blah, 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 the whole thing. I guess he's angry that James Harden ended up leaving, so he refuses to support him. Maybe that's what it is. That makes sense. But anyway, these guys here on this show, speak for yourself. We're going to debate it. It's going to be Acho. It's going to be Wiley. It's going to be Bucher. I'm going to listen. We're going to listen, and I'm going to chime in.
In that span, and Joel Embiid calling the new all-star duo, quote, unstoppable. Philly's currently the third seed in the East. We got to bring in NBA analyst Slick Rick, the one and only Bucher. Oh, Slick, have James Harden's Sixers put the NBA on notice?
No, they haven't put them on notice. They haven't put us on notice. They haven't put the NBA on notice. They haven't put my garbage man on notice, okay? They haven't given notice to anybody, okay? And look, it's 2 games. They played the most foul-prone team in the entire league, in the Minnesota Timberwolves, and they shot 36 free throws, and they won. Mm-hmm. They played the...
Forget about the fact there was 2 games. It was 1 practice. Listen to here. The Philadelphia 76ers, since James Harden came, as a team collectively getting ready, preparing for a game. Between the 2 games, the Minnesota Timberwolves game and the New York Knicks game, they practiced 1 time. This is what they said. And what happened? 1 practice. First game, 133 points. Second game, 125 points. I don't care who you playing and what the situation is. To score that type of points, to put together that type of offensive output with one practice is phenomenal. And the thing about the Sixers is they know they got a long way to go. Doc Rivers said that they are utilizing 3 offensive plays. 3 plays, Sixers fans. You should be going crazy. This team, with what they just did, these were the 2 best offensive outputs of the season. And they're only using 3 plays on offense. So I'll add to what he's saying. He's talking about they only played the Timberwolves. Well, those Timberwolves just beat those Cavaliers that I heard you praising earlier. Those Timberwolves just beat those Cavaliers last night, blew them out. Sixers beat the Timberwolves by 32 points, I believe. The New York Knicks, say what you want. Knicks wanted us. Matter of fact, the Knicks gave us problems earlier in the year. I think the Sixers lost to the Knicks twice. You saw what happened. Put on a show, man. Put on a show. Just look at the ratings. So this idea that they didn't put the league on notice is ridiculous. That game against the Minnesota Timberwolves was the highest rated game in years. Just look that stuff up. The whole country's watching. You're talking about it. That means you're on notice. Let me let them go ahead, man.
12th place New York Knicks, who had lost 9 of 10 games, and they won. That's it. That's what we got. We got those 2 games. So what notice is there? Look, at least give me the weekend. They're going to play the Knicks again. Yes. They'll probably win. But then they play the Cavs, who are the least prone fouling team in the league. And then they play the Miami Heat, who have won 9 games out of 10. And if the
Now, before he goes into that, listen. The New York Knicks, he already admits. All right. First of all, he's saying you ain't going to get no credit for these 2 games. I don't care how many points you scored. I don't care how James Harden look like. I don't care how it looks like he's playing with Embiid. His pick and roll. I don't care about none of that, right? He's saying you only beat Minnesota and you only beat the Knicks. We got the Knicks again, though. He's saying they'll probably beat them. Okay, so, all right. So that means that'd be 3 in a row. Then the next team, he said the Cleveland Cavaliers, right? Think about it. He said they're the least prone to foul. He's trying to spin this narrative that the Sixers can only score by getting to the foul line. As if they can't make free throws. As if Harden can't freaking make threes. As if Embiid can't just score everywhere. As if Maxey ain't just cooking everybody. Right? He wants to paint this narrative that the Sixers only score because they get into the free throw line. And he wants you to think that you're stupid. He thinks you're dumb to think you would believe that. Because he wants to say, oh, when you get to the playoffs and they don't call the fouls, all of a sudden you're not going to score. This is where he is with it. All right? See where you're going, Bucher. It's weak and it's whack.
Philadelphia 76ers get to Monday, and they are on a 5-game winning streak. I still don't know that it's putting anybody on notice.
Hold on. So this joker said, listen, ain't nobody on notice because you beat 2 bad teams. But even if you beat these 3 teams, including the Miami Heat, who they, who's in first place, who they think is all that, Sixers were not afraid of Miami Heat before James Harden. Nobody's afraid of Miami Heat because you got Bam Adebayo versus Joel Embiid. Come on. Now you got Harden versus Jimmy Butler. Come on. All right. Sixers have the 2 best players out of those 2 teams. The advantage Miami has is the continuity that they have in playing together for a long time. Kyle Lowry has been there all year. Though he's 59 years old, he's been there all year. So there's some continuity that they have. But let's be for real. Does anyone believe the Miami Heat is constructed beats the Philadelphia 76ers in a series? I don't care about if you think they have all this depth. Like, first of all, depth to me, the bench, that's overrated. To me, anyway. Like, sure, the Golden State Warriors were a deep team when they won. They had Livingston and they had Iguodala coming off the bench. They had Mo Space coming off the bench and guys like that. But if anyone thinks that the reason they were winning was because of the bench, I think you need to get your head checked. The 7th and 8th guy coming off the bench. Now, 6th man is important. But the 7th and the 8th guy coming off the bench is not the reason you win titles. You win titles because of the stars. Everyone knows that. But this is, these are the types of things they want to do when they think they have something on the Sixers, when really the Sixers bench isn't even as bad as they think, especially after they signed DeAndre Jordan, who will be a good backup for Joel Embiid. Really don't need much from him but some rebounds and some blocks. But this guy, he's already setting it up where I don't care what they do. I'm not impressed. That's why, it's just hate. They ain't got nothing to do with analyzing.
But they'll have my attention then. They'll have done something that that gives me something worth paying attention to. But I've been down this road so many times with the Philadelphia 76ers that at this point...
Down what road? The Sixers were in first place last year. They had Ben Simmons. Didn't have James Harden, so you haven't been down anything with this team.
To say, James Harden's in town, they've won 2 games, here we go. No. Let it breathe a beat. Let them get a couple games under them. And do I need to remind you of the playoff history of Joel Embiid or James Harden? No, you know what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to save that for my second lap. I'm just going to...
Not going to do that because there is nothing for you to say when the history of Joel Embiid. There's nothing you could say, right? And I can't wait till he gets to it because then all of you who agree with him, I'm going to set you straight. So anyway, let's go.
Say, we haven't seen enough yet to get as excited as seemingly Philadelphia 76ers fans are.
My dog Slick.
I know seemingly about it. We excited than the mother blogger. We excited as hell. Ain't no seemingly talking about.
Becoming an even more expert on TV, giving us a cliffhanger, got me excited for your second lap.
Acho.
NBA's on notice. Simple as that. James Harden, Joel Embiid, put the East on notice, put the West on notice, put Speak for Yourself on notice, put everybody on notice. The Sixers are the only team with 2 top 5 players in the NBA. And if y'all don't think they both top 5, the Sixers are still the only team with 2 top 10 players on the same squad in the NBA. What about Chris Paul? Yeah, he's hurt. What about Anthony Davis? Stop. The Sixers, Joel Embiid, James Harden. Embiid, best year of his career, 30 points, 11 boards a game. James Harden, now that he is happy with the team that he is playing with, is back in his bag. Gave y'all a triple-double in just
It's amazing, though, man. I'm not even gonna lie. When James Harden was with the Nets, he was looking kind of, a little chunky and, looked like he ain't giving shit. Arms looking all big and soft. And all of a sudden, James Harden looked like he looking slim, trim, cut up, running up and down the field. He had 5 steals the other day. Man, this is pissing these dudes off, man. Yeah, Acho. He's spitting facts. Now, the one thing I would say about what Acho said, I think Brooklyn has a chance of having possibly 2 top 10 players. Depending on where you rank Kyrie Irving. For me, if you had to put a gun to my head, I got him ranked top 15. Probably not top 10 for me, but they're the only team with the possibility of that.
second game ever in Philly. Stop playing. Anyway. The Sixers have put everybody on notice because while this is just the second date that we are assessing, and you cannot judge a relationship based upon a second date, I understand this much. The season is so close to an end that if this is the honeymoon phase will still take the Sixers exactly where they want to get to. I don't know if you all have ever been to a wedding of 2 elderly people. I have.
What's elderly?
And if you go to a wedding of 2 elderly people full of nothing but gray hair, you understand that they might be enjoying a honeymoon phase early on, but that honeymoon phase is still probably going to take them to the end of time, depending on how much time they got left. The season is coming to a close, y'all. So even if Embiid and Harden are in a honeymoon phase, the honeymoon phase is still going to take them to the end of the season. Ain't got that much season left. Embiid, Harden, 2 top 10 players, put the NBA on notice.
On notice.
Yeah, drop the mic, because honestly, he doesn't even have to make a very sophisticated argument. It's really that simple. Joel Embiid, right, and James Harden. And the reason I'm going to say it's that simple is because when anyone talks about Brooklyn, it's typically that simple. They say Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, really. They saw all the stuff about the bench, Steph Curry, Drummond, and all that. They don't even really matter. Ben Simmons might not even play to the end of the year, but what they bring up are those 2 stars. So it really is that simple.
The answer is in the word notice. Spell notice, Acho.
N-O. No.
T-I.
Hell no, we ain't on notice. Know what? Know who they are? Don't do this. Like, Slick wants to get to it. I'm going to save some of these ribs for you, Slick, but I'm going to just enlighten everybody out there. What is this called, Acho? I just pulled out.
IFB, sir.
IFB. Let's talk
Negro not believing what the hell he's saying.
about the IFB of these Sixers, the injury, the fatigue, and the bickering. Oh, it's coming. Let's talk about these boys right here. Let's hear it. Because you know damn well, if you're a betting man, one of the three, if not all three, are going to occur before this season's over. I don't wish ill on anybody, but the best indicator of future behavior is past behavior. James Harden, let's start here. It's hard for me to trust a dude that's been known to run from a challenge. It's hard for me to trust a dude who continues to alienate individuals, cities, and teams in a pursuit of his own championship.
I would like to hear particulars. Again, these generalities with no particulars, right? So that's nothing.
Everywhere you go, James Harden, there you are, big dog. So hopefully it works for you in Philadelphia. Joel Embiid, who's been a beast, MVP front runner right now. I give it to you. At the same time, there has been some injury concerns. There has been some fatigue.
What injury concerns? He said some fatigue concerns, right? This is like, you're just going to say there's been fatigue concerns. God. There's been no fatigue concerns this year or last year. Last year, they said he was MVP front runner. There haven't been fatigue concerns in this year, last year, 3 years ago. Even then, he was averaging 25, Well, anyway, as far as the injury, he can't bring anything up because he knows that Joel Embiid has not had a season-ending injury in his career. He came into the league with the Liz Frank. Once the Liz Frank was dealt with, all those other games he missed were either due to COVID, which everyone was missing time for, or load management on the part of the Sixers, who were being overly cautious. There were no season-ending injuries. You know who does have season-ending injuries? Often, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. And as far as James Harden goes, we know James Harden was one of the most healthiest Iron Man players ever, next to LeBron James. What he had last season was a soft tissue injury, hamstring, which we know isn't something that, we can bring up. It's not even worth bringing that up. He knows that. Stop it.
Concerns. And also some bickering concerns if you really want to talk about how Ben Simmons was pushed into a corner based on his own teammates' comments post-game last year. I just want...
This same Marcellus Wiley, who's all about personal accountability, when it comes to black folks, when it comes to George Floyd, when it comes to any of these issues, this guy right here is always about personal accountability to the point where he supports everything other than the so-called victims. And he's going to sit here and say that Ben Simmons was pushed into a corner. What corner is that? Where Ben Simmons averaged, we're not even going to go into that. That's just be a waste of my time.
How that's going to play out when they face adversity, because every team must face it, and you must overcome said adversity to get to the championship.
Yeah, that's true, but I would say that we have to see how every team overcomes adversity.
Just wonder how this is going to play out. How glued will they stay together through that adversity? So, Slick, I know you got
That's true, but you don't have no way to indicate they will do well or they won't do well.
A lot of ribs and a lot to dump on the plate, so I'm going to let you go. But the IFB is talking to me, man. Injury, fatigue, and bickering.
Yeah.
That was so weak.
Look, I consider myself a humanitarian when it comes to the Philadelphia 76ers because I've seen the Philadelphia 76ers fans be taken through this. Consider me a basketball version.
Seen them being taken through what? Being taken through what? Silly.
Of Oxfam or UNICEF at this point. I'm here to help Sixers fans not get sucked in to the same mistake. Why are we where we are right now? Why is James Harden in a Philadelphia 76ers uniform? One reason is because of supposedly what happened with Ben Simmons and the Atlanta Hawks and losing that series. And much of that has been blamed, if not all, on Ben Simmons and the fact that he refused to dunk an obvious dunk opportunity. What's been lost in that is that Joel Embiid disappeared at the end of that game, too. In the final 3 minutes, he had a missed shot, a turnover, and a missed three before hitting a meaningless layup in the final.
All right. Joel Embiid in that series averaged 30 points, 12 rebounds, 3.9 assists. Joel Embiid in that series averaged 30 points, 12 rebounds, 3.9 assists. Ben Simmons averaged about 10 points the whole series, including 4 straight games where he did not take a shot, did not attempt a shot. Ben Simmons, the point guard, was seen on fast breaks passing the ball to Joel Embiid at half court just because he didn't want to be fouled. Ben Simmons missed an unprecedented 20 consecutive free throws. Ben Simmons' missing of the free throws created a situation where the Atlanta Hawks could just institute a strategy of just fouling Ben Simmons, which led to them cutting into leads that the Sixers had of 20 points, 25 points, respectively, from Game 5 to Game 7. Ben Simmons contributed to that mightily. To sit for anyone to try to argue with Sixers fans who study this, who watch this, is ridiculous. Don't bring that shit to us. If you want to think you're going to help us and not take us down this road, go down what road? We have a guy now who's almost 90% from the free throw line. Joel Embiid, 90% from the free throw line. So there won't be no going down that same road. There is no hacker Embiid. There is no hacker Harden. There is no hacker Maxey. There is no hacker Tobias. That doesn't exist. So there is no road you're going to go down. Like, you could say little things and try to be funny and try to get a rile us up. And yeah, you did a good job. You got my response, which is really what you want. And I don't mind giving it to you because guess what? You helping me too. You helping me too. Because people listen to my channel because of you too. Right? So I accept it. Thanks, Bucher.
Final seconds. That was the extent of Joel Embiid's contributions in the final 3 minutes of that game.
Yeah, we don't care. Joel Embiid had to overcompensate and do too much because of the lack of even attempting things on the part of his so-called co-star. Because his co-star wasn't doing shit, Embiid had to do more, overdo it, and not one of the fans are mad at him for that. The turnover, that's fine. That comes as a result of him trying to do too much. I will take a man trying to do too much over a little bitch-ass joker who just ain't going to do shit any day of the week. Sign me up for the guy that is going to overdo it. I've seen Kobe Bryant in them situations where he just start gunning. I seen Brett Favre in them situations. He's going to throw 5 picks. If I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down like a cannon. And that's why the city of Philadelphia to this day loves Joel Embiid. And that's why they can't stand Ben Simmons. Because even in failure, if you put that shit, lay every goddamn thing on the line, you're going to earn our respect. But I know you don't know nothing about that, Bucher.
3-point game. So let's not put all of it on Ben Simmons. If they win that game, then maybe we're not here. But they lost.
Okay, we won't put it all on Ben Simmons. How about 98.7% of it on him? How about that?
On the other side of the equation, James Harden. Does anybody remember, Marcellus, you talk a lot about Kevin Durant's big toe in that final game against the Milwaukee Bucks. What we don't talk about is the fact that James Harden was 5 for 17 and 2 for 12.
Yeah, James Harden had a hamstring injury. Come on, dude. He played through a hamstring injury, and we respect that. Around here, we respect that kind of stuff. A game where you shouldn't even be out there. And Kevin Durant was like, look, KD even said to James Harden, look, just be out there, man. Just your presence being there helps. And he tried to play through that. Here, we respect that kind of shit. I don't know about in Brooklyn. I don't know about other places. But here, where we at, we respect that kind of shit. Even if you go down in the loss, we respect that kind of shit.
In that game.
Oh, let's talk.
And if you want me to go back and through the history of James Harden Game 7s, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to hurt the Philadelphia 76ers.
What the history? Okay. history of what Chris Paul getting hurt and losing to a Warriors team that many people said is the greatest team ever. Yeah, that's okay. That Warriors team took your boy LeBron and swept him. Right? The same Warriors team that swept LeBron James. Well, at least Harden was able to get them to 7. That's where I look at that.
Fans' feelings any more than I already have. And you're going to have to excuse me. I'm going to have to refer to my notes here because I want to go through all of the other combinations that I've heard over the last 5-6 years when it comes to the Philadelphia 76ers and how they were suddenly going to leap to prominence and they were going to win a championship. Are we ready? Michael Carter Williams, does that ring a bell? Jahlil Okafor.
Nobody ever, this guy's retarded. Michael Carter Williams was the rookie of the year and was traded the next year. Why? Because we believed Michael Carter Williams was going to win. Is this nigga retarded? So excuse me for using that. I mean, is this dude retarded? He said Michael Carter Williams. He got traded because we knew he wasn't built like that.
Or does that ring a bell? Nerlens Noel, does that ring
Okafor? That's a bad pick. Nerlens Noel, is this dude serious?
A bell? Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid and
right now, Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid is legit, but that was just a one-shot deal. This dude is not making any damn sense. So if you don't get it done in a one-shot deal, this dude, he ain't serious.
Ben Simmons, and then Markelle Fultz. Let's add him to the equation. And then Ben Simmons.
And Wiley's face like he's serious about this. Like, these dudes are just trolling, man. These dudes are just trolling.
Joel Embiid. And Jimmy Butler again. And then we had Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid. And Sixers fans, you're not fooling me. You told me that combination was going to take you somewhere. Oh, yeah, and then with Tobias Harris. And the process is going to make it all happen.
All right, this is so corny. Because of the fact that, right, you could go through every damn team in the league that doesn't win a title. And every year, you know how many teams that don't win a title? 29. 30, 31, right? What is it? 32 teams. So 31 teams don't win a title every year. Right? You can go through all of there. Yeah, you had this guy, you had that guy, you had this guy and that guy. Right? So it's like just stupid. I hope he hurries up. This is just whack.
So now I got Joel Embiid and James Harden, and I got 2 wins, and suddenly now they're going to go win a championship. How many times are you guys going to fall for this 3-card Monty before you go, I'm not going to get sucked into this game again? Well, I'm here to help you.
That was so damn corny. That was so corny, man.
Not get sucked in again. All right? I love this combination. It's exciting. It's entertaining. Stop telling me that that the league is on notice, that here comes the Philadelphia 76ers to win a championship. I've heard it before, and I haven't seen it happen.
He ain't serious. He's not even serious about his job or anything. He's just a clown.
Slick! Acho, retards, please. Slick, I love your take, big dog, but this ain't no 3-card Monty. It's just a little 2-card poker. All I need is Harden and Embiid, big dog. I don't need to worry about no triune. I don't need to know about no Trinity, big dog. Here's the difference, Slick. Jimmy Butler's great. He's not James Harden. Markelle Fultz is supposed to be great, not James Harden. Jahlil Okafor is supposed to be a top tight, not James Harden. Nobody you mention, Slick Rick, is James Harden. Not Ben Simmons, not nobody. So we have not seen a combination as talented, as lethal, as experienced, and as individually successful as the combination of James Harden and Joel Embiid. It is a new day, and the greatness is new, and the greatness is here on the horizon in South Philadelphia, in Broad Street. I hear you, Slick. Because as Marcellus has so eloquently stated several times, the best indicator of future behavior is past behavior. But we have never seen the behavior of James Harden and Joel Embiid together. Slick, I quoted the great Will Smith last week. I shall quote him again in regards to people giving you their experience and their advice. You and now are a unique opportunity which we have not seen, of which you and now are the best indicator.
I think it was safe to say that was a third round knockout by Acho. He's the only dude that's making sense and not just talking crazy, out of the top of his head or whatever. I don't even know how to put it. But anyway, man, that's enough for me, man. I'll get with y'all later. I'm out.